If you've been wondering how all of your favorite Instagram accounts constantly have great Instagram stories and how you can too, then I've got you covered. One of the most difficult parts of content marketing is staying consistent. Staying consistent comes from idea generation and then putting those ideas into some sort of structure or plan. So if you want some great ideas so that you can stay ahead of the game, stick with me as I walk you through these 9 Instagram story ideas. But before we do that, remember, if you want the best social media and content marketing tips, tricks, and advice, make sure you hit that subscribe button below and also hit the bell so that you get notifications for every Wednesday when I put out a new video. Okay guys, let's dive in. So my first idea for you, particularly those of you in a service-based industry, is to do mini trainings. This is a great way to add value to your audience and to keep them coming back to you because it positions you as an expert in your field. By doing mini trainings, you're showcasing your expertise, you're helping them out by delivering value time and time again, and you're also making sure that your time on stories isn't wasting their time. And to be quite honest, a lot of Instagram stories are just time wasters for the people scrolling through. So let's be valuable with our content. Let's make sure people coming to us are experiencing some kind of education or training. My second idea for you is something that I do with you guys a lot, and it is a countdown to a promo, or in my case, I use it as a little bit of a countdown to when I pop out these YouTube videos, but you could use it as a promo for a product coming out, or perhaps the end of a service you're wrapping up where people can enroll in it, you're having a cutoff date. But it's a great way of building anticipation for something that you've got coming out, a sale of some description, or even something that you have coming to a close. The best thing about this idea is it really doesn't matter how long you have the countdown for. So for me, I often ping you guys about when the next YouTube video is coming out. It's normally the day before or the day of or a few hours in advance. But if you have something where you're closing up an enrollment, for example, perhaps you count down every hour on the hour for the 24 hours in advance, creating that scarcity, creating that need for your customer to enroll and creating that FOMO. So it ends up driving people to the outcome that you're after. It's also a really beneficial way of getting those last few dollars through when you've got a sale that is going to end at a certain time. So as I said before, it can be to some kind of monetary ending, or it can just be to a free piece of value that you've got. Maybe you've got a vlog coming out, but either way, use the countdown to build anticipation in your community. My third idea for you, and something that I'm about to start very shortly on my channel, which I'm super excited about, is story takeovers. Now, the brilliant thing about the way that Instagram has structured their app is that whoever you want to take over your story can actually create the story on their Instagram and just download the individual videos and then send them to you, and you're able to just put them up on yours. I remember when Snapchat takeovers were a big thing, and the problem with them was there was no way to download those videos. And often we were all sharing passwords or creating temporary passwords for others to come into our account. And it just didn't feel like a particularly safe environment. If you had private conversations going on, if you had business deals going down, it just wasn't ideal. So the best thing about stories, like I said, is that you can get whoever you want to take over your story to create it, send it to you, and then you can put it up at your own discretion. You can put it up when it's convenient to you, when it's convenient to your audience, and you're not reliant on the other person being available. And that's especially good if you're someone like me who's Australian, and maybe you have someone in America or someone in England who's going to take over your account, and the time zones just don't match up for when it's ideal for your audience. Guys, this is also a really great way to build your audience. If you can find like-minded people who have roughly the same size account as you, it's a great way to gain exposure to their audience, provided that they also are your targeted audience. So another reason that story takeovers have my vote is because you can bring in people that don't do exactly what you do, but still cater to your type of audience. And what that does is brings added value to your audience without you having to pretend like you know that knowledge already, or without you actually having to know that knowledge already. You're able to bring in an expert to speak to your audience about something that they would like to know and like to learn without having to take the responsibility onto yourself. It's really a win-win for everybody involved. You, the person that's taking over your story, and your audience, if you do it right. The fourth Instagram story idea that I have for you is a walkthrough. Now, what do I mean by this? I mean, think about anything that you deal with day in, day out, and do a walkthrough for your audience. If you have an office space, walk through, introduce the people in your space, show them your surroundings, bring them into your community. If you have a particular product, walk them through it. Walk them through the process of making that product, or walk them through the process of your day. I've seen influencers who walk people through their new apartments. I know other people who walk people through their day, what they do. I know other people who specifically walk their audience through the process of them buying coffee, which sounds really simple, but it's actually really fun. And it's just another way to deepen that relationship with your audience, because by doing a walkthrough, they get to know you a little bit better, they get to know your environment a little bit better, and you never know what might spark a conversation between you and them. If any of these Instagram story ideas are resonating with you, or you would like to try them, pop the little fire emoji below in the comments so that I know, and I would love to follow along. I'm all about you dropping your Instagram handle so I can see what you're doing in the space, so make sure you do that too. All right, let's get to the fifth Instagram story idea. One of the ways I love seeing Instagram stories used, and also a way that I like to use it, is to use the polling feature that Instagram give you. Now, if you get super creative with this, you can actually use this to build out products and build out services and poll your audience to know what they are really wanting from you. So I like to call this Instagram story idea a this or a that. So let's, for example, say that I sell iPhone mobile phone covers, right? I might be able to put a picture of a black one up the top and a picture of a white one down the bottom, use the polling feature, one pointing up and one pointing down, and just ask people to vote on their favorite color. Ask them to vote on the one that they would buy. Chances are you're going to see something outweigh the other one, and it's going to help you in your product development. I tend to use it because I'm more service-based in a way where I ask people if they want one thing or the other. So one that I recently used with my audience was that I asked them if they would prefer a hashtag research breakdown on how to research your hashtags thoroughly, or if they would like an Instagram engagement strategies guide. Hands down, most people voted for the guide, and so I went and made it for them. It was a no-brainer. It was super easy, and it was value-driven in that they knew at the end of that poll, I was going to create whatever they wanted, so it was in their vested interest to be honest with me and to vote. So get creative with this. Think about how you can use it, how you can engage your audience to help you in the process of product development, service development. Maybe they get to choose what you do in your next vlog. Maybe they get to choose your next YouTube video, but involve them in a way where it's fun and it's a no-brainer. My sixth Instagram story idea for you is to create Instagram specific offers. Now, this is more of a sales-driven effort, and so it's a good idea to make sure you have a sales code set up on your website so that when people come in, they're typing in Instagram or something like that, so you know where they've come from. But this is a really great idea to test your audience on different platforms. It's a great way to go, this money came from Instagram, or these downloads came from Instagram, or these subscribers came from Instagram. I do this a lot with my clients when I have a day that might be a little bit dead on YouTube or something to that effect, and I will create an Instagram story or an Instagram post and tell people to go and subscribe that day. I'll give them reason to, and we'll see subscribers shoot up on that particular day. It's a really fun way just to test how receptive your audience is. It's also a great way to drive a few more dollars if you're doing it around an actual product or service. So you can go ahead and create a discount, or you can simply add value. If you buy this, you also get this. Of course, you can get creative with it, you can do whatever you like with it, but I really love the idea of a platform-specific offer. My 7th Instagram story idea for you is a little bit more of a fun one, in my opinion. And again, it's using the polling feature, but it's using it in a way where you can create trivia using it. So I've seen Gary Vaynerchuk use this really, really well in the early days, where they would ask questions to the audience. That's Gary Vaynerchuk specific. If you don't know who Gary V is, I apologize. Look him up, he's everywhere. But they would ask questions to the audience, and they would put 2 answers in the polls and then see who got the right answer. Now, the beautiful thing about the polls is that you don't know the answer until the person tells you, and you only get one shot at it. So they would create a number of trivia polls. They would get people to go through it as they did, and they would pick a winner for someone who got every answer correct. It's just a really fun way of gamifying your audience a little bit in a way that's not slimy and gross and salesy. It's just fun. And who knows, maybe they get a free consultation with you. Maybe they get a shout out from you if you've got a bigger audience and that would benefit them. Maybe they get some merch from you if you're a product-based business. But it's just a really fun way of engaging your audience. Instagram story idea number 8. Now this one is a little bit more strategic, and it's about promoting your hashtag or having your audience tag the brand. Now this might be a little bit dependent on your audience, but if you create a hashtag around your brand, or simply ask people to tag your brand when they create certain content, and you're able to then share that particular post into your story, it's a really great way of just creating that community. Now, a really great example of this is the Frank Bod brand. So back in the early days, they created the hashtag, the Frank Effect. And anybody who bought this coffee scrub and used it could then post that content to Instagram, use the hashtag, the Frank Effect, and they would then proceed to take those images and post them on their Instagram. And now they're able to share them in the stories and things like that. Depending on your community, as I said, that can be a really effective way of, one, not having to create a ton of content because your users are now doing that for you, but secondly, to create community. Some people love to be showcased. They want to be on camera. They want their picture shared. For some, it's just a cool story that they get to tell their friends. They're like, look, I was featured on this massive account. But more than anything, it really creates a community effect. I know for myself that I've used products before and I've tagged the actual brand in it. They haven't necessarily shared what I have created, but they've liked it or they've commented on it. And that was really meaningful for me because I love their products. I'm not doing it to get a shout out. I'm doing it because I genuinely love the product. But in the case of the Frank Bod brand, they literally had people selling their product for them. And then people who go and click on the hashtag, because they do, would then see all of these people using this product. And then FOMO sets in, and then they need to buy it too. So it's something to think about as your brand grows and how you can use a hashtag to bring your community together and create something special. So my final Instagram story idea for you is episodic content. Now, what is episodic content? Well, think of Netflix and then think about how you can replicate Netflix in a smaller way on your Instagram stories. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you're National Geographic, how do you make a very small version of a National Geographic documentary? If you're like me, how do I make educational content? Or how do I create an interview series that you keep coming back for? In the same way that maybe every Friday your favorite show releases another episode, every Friday I might release an interview series around growing your business. The idea behind this is that just like any show you would watch on TV, you're creating something that your community knows is coming out on a certain day, is only around for 24 hours and they know they have to come to your account on that day and watch this thing or they'll miss out. I think this is a really fun idea, and moving forward, I think we're going to see brands be doing this more and more because it's a way of creating a scarcity and a FOMO around the content that you're creating or they're creating, and your community is going to seek you out more rather than passively consume. So we've come to the end of my 9 Instagram story ideas for brands. Comment below if you are going to try one of these things. I would love to hear from you. And now you know the exact kind of Instagram story content that you can create week in, week out to deliver value to your audience. Make sure you grab my Instagram engagement strategies free guide that I have made you. It's in the link below. Pick it up. It's going to help you retain that audience that you build week in and week out. And I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.